it's been really interesting in how we have moved it so that we are working um, into what we do for you guys to optimize and change things from that life of a civilian's life to being optimized for a first responder's life. I mean, a lot of you guys are already pushing hard, very athletic, trying all kinds of supplements, performance apps, all kinds of things in order to get better, but keep hitting these bumps. So that's what we are going to dive into today is why this is happening and what you can do about it from a biohacking point of view. So first off, as I just mentioned, your requirements as a first responder are very different from a civilian's. So if you go and you read all of the literature that's out there, they talk about getting into these circadian rhythms and making sure that you're doing everything so that as the sun's going down, as it's nighttime, you're supposed to be going to sleep, that your sleep hormones can kick in and your waking hormones can shut down. But the thing is that's not realistic in your jobs. Those of you either working 24, 12, 10-hour shifts, all over OT, days, nights, your circadian rhythms are all over the map. So if you're trying to read this literature that is teaching you how to be getting your circadian rhythms on track, when that's not what happens in your job, it is frustrating. And we see guys that are implementing some really, really good strategies, but they're for civilians and not for your life in the first responder world. So that is where everything that's thrown off as well. We start looking at your stress loads. Civilians don't do 12, 24-hour shifts. They're not up in the middle of the night. Their requirements of the job, I mean, for fire, you guys are carrying 75 to 100 pounds of equipment. Police, you have, depending, 25 to 40 pounds of equipment on you for your entire shift. EMS, you guys are lifting patients, which can be ridiculous amounts of weight in really quite often too in non-functional ways to even be getting them in and out of situations where you do have a lot of tools to get them now in and out of your service vehicles, but it's getting them into the gurney, right? So there's so many different stressors that then you're starting to add in your workouts on top of that, that the way that you need to understand about working out and how to work out and how to push your body so that it is optimally performing is very different to that of a civilian. There aren't those regular, okay, let's work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's push on this. You need to understand how to work it around your shifts, how to work it around what happened on each individual shift, because one shift, what goes on will determine what you're able to do afterwards. And there's some really cool things that we can there's some really cool tools that we can be using, heart rate variability, and ways to understand heart rate variability with your performance and working out, heart rate variability with traumas, heart rate variability with PTSD therapies. There's so many different things that we can be doing just from that one biohacking tool, taking it from a civilian's point of view and moving it into that of first responder, of what you guys need to benefit you. And then we get into eating. So with eating, you don't always know when you can eat. You could be mid-meal and totally go on a call. You may have to be skipping meals. You don't know when your next meal is going to be. That what they say, eating on regular basis, or all the rules of intermittent fasting, they all get thrown out the window. So that is my first point for you guys, is just to understand that difference between where we need to start looking at things from the first responders point of view, and all of the stressors that go into your job versus and how your body is taxed versus what a civilian does. They're totally different. So the second thing that we get into is the pitfalls, where our doctors are amazing. They're built on crisis medicine, which you guys practice every day on the job. Crisis medicine saves so many different lives, but it is not from a preventative point of view. So quite often when you're going to your doctor and you're getting blood tests for your testosterone, it's just showing you one of the 50 different hormones that your stress system is in charge of. And if your testosterone is low, your testosterone is usually the end of that hormonal pathway. It's near the middle and end. Whereas if you're only looking at that testosterone and they're like, oh, that's low, this is the problem. Let's get you more testosterone because it's low, you're missing everything else that comes up above it. So truly understanding how all of your hormones work, how all of the testing works. So there are times where blood testing is amazing. We do ask when you come into our program that any blood work that you've had done in the last year, that you pass it on, any colonoscopies, stool tests, any type of testing, urine tests that you have had in the past year. If you give all of those to us, we can use that data. But how we use it when we're looking at it from a preventative functional standpoint is different than when we're looking at it from the crisis reaction disease marker standpoint that your doctor is looking at it. So quite often, your doctor will throw sleeping pills at you or anti-anxiety meds or antidepressants because of one symptom instead of really diving in and looking at the whole picture of what's going on. And then we get into intermittent fasting, which I know a lot of you swear by. Now, there have been studies that go in to intermittent fasting, whereas for men, a lot of the studies show intermittent fasting has a lot of benefits. For females, it needs to be modified in order to get those benefits. But here's the caveat. When you are in a stress state, when you have been in burnout for a long period of time, when you have when you are showing other symptoms, these hormones are off, your gut is off, then intermittent fasting can actually cause damage and is not beneficial. You may have less bloating. You may not have as much diarrhea. It may give you a little more energy in the start because you're taking out sugars, which feed a lot of bad bacteria that cause a lot of bloating, diarrhea, constipation. We find as well that people who have been long-term keto, they tend to start developing more gut issues, which we already have a lot of gut issues with you guys to start with before keto comes into place. So there's a lot of things to understand about if you want to do intermittent fasting, making sure first off that your stress system isn't screaming at you. If you're listening to the video, if you're in this group, the odds are your stress system is already screaming at you, which means that intermittent fasting may not be the solution at this moment for you. It could be doing more harm than good, throwing off your blood sugar levels, all kinds of things that it can do. The functional practitioner in our program, she actually is going for her PhD. Her dissertation is in blood sugars, in diabetes, which stress absolutely throws off all of your blood sugars. So when you're getting into that, she's also works in high performance with high performance athletes. So mixing high performance athletes, stress that is pushing you all of the time, and being on these intermittent fasting diets, it really does take a toll on your stress system, throws off your blood sugars, which then starts getting weight around your middle that you can't lose, starts getting the mood swings, the waking mid-sleep, all kinds of things start getting thrown off with a lot of these things when you're in a stress state. So there's a time and a place for intermittent fasting, but when you're looking at it with people that are in a higher stress state, it's not. So let me know, for those of you that are doing intermittent fasting, how long have you been on it? And are you still reaping the same benefits you had at the start? And the other question is, how easy is it to maintain on shift? Because with intermittent fasting, it's where you go a certain amount of time without eating, but if you're going that certain amount of time, what we found with some guys is, let's say you are on a 12-hour shift and you're able to fast on that shift, but you go into overtime. And then you get into that point where you're really, really hungry and you're getting past that stage where you already needed to give yourself those calories, and it totally throws you off because there's so many unknowns on your shift. So it really can make that difference with you guys. So let me know if you have done it, how the benefits are, because I know a lot of you do feel great when you start it. So I'm curious how long you have been on it and how well you've been able to maintain it according to the rules and regulations of intermittent fasting. So we've gone through how first responders, your body requirements are very different from that of a civilian, and how those differences are, and some of the pitfalls where we talked about checking your testosterone, also checking your cortisol, different blood tests where they come back from your doctor are from different markers of a disease standpoint, not of a functional medicine standpoint. So we're looking at different markers too. When we're looking at them, we're looking, how can we optimize you? How can we get you into those? If we compared samples of people who are optimally performing, where are their levels at? That's the markers we look at. Your doctor looks at, okay, you're not in disease. So you may still be able to get through daily activities of daily living, but you're not in a disease marker yet. So that's where they work off of. So when you're looking at it from that functional standpoint, it's where are your markers relative to being optimally functional, and looking at everything as a whole. So your whole hormonal pathways of your stress system, how your gut is relating to that. Like 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. So when your gut's off, that's throwing off serotonin, which is anxiety, depression, gets the constipation, diarrhea, the bloating, the gas that can clear a room. All of these things contribute to all kinds of different symptoms. So we need to look at them all as a whole and really assess your metabolic system. Really dive into that metabolic system, how your body is burning all everything in your body. Like, so I recently did a test with our functional practitioner and found out that my body does not absorb vitamin B the word what we're supposed to be absorbing it. So there's a couple of things that I need to do so that my body can absorb it properly, and then I can reap the benefits of it. And B is one of those vitamins that really supports your stress system. Also methylation, how is your body breaking down things? We need to look at all of these things, your gut, your hormones, all of these symptoms together to figure out how your body's breaking down things, how your cells are regenerating themselves and repairing themselves, so that you're not getting repetitive injuries, so that you can really heal from your workouts, heal from all the tactical training on shift, and then be able to do a kick butt workout and heal from it and get stronger from it, so that you can do all that is demanded of you in your daily job. So these things are so important. Which, as I just alluded to as well, is where testing comes in. So when you're going to different sites and you're checking into all this biohacking and they give you, hey, try this for this, try this for that. Well, is this even an issue that you're having? Do you know, right? Like, hey, like I just said, B vitamins are great for you. They really are. They are amazing for your cells. They're amazing for stress. They feed your stress system. But if you could be increasing your Bs so much and your body may not be absorbing them like mine wasn't. I'll also give you another case for me. I am a low methylator, which means that I'm a slow methylator, which what that means is that my cells, all of the different parts of my cells don't regenerate themselves as well. So my DNA doesn't regenerate. My mitochondria are your building blocks of all of your cells, all your organs, all your muscles, everything. And finding that out, found out too, that then my body, because of that, my body kept stealing so much glutathione, which is what helps my muscles heal and repair, which is one reason why I was struggling with my workouts. So people tell you, hey, you need to keep working out more. You need to, work out, eat healthy. But if there's certain systems in your body that aren't able to be doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, then those workouts can end up being more detrimental. And then you start getting all of these repetitive strain injuries, motivation and drive goes out the window, testosterone lowers, cortisol lowers, moods, anger, anxiety kicks in, serotonin drops. All of these things can happen. The thing is that what's going on in your body could be very different than what is going on in mine. So understanding that, doing certain testing based on an intake form, which tells us where in you is your system off. Is it in the hormones? Is it in your uric acid, which is basically like an emissions test of a car, where we're testing to see how your body's eliminating things, which is how we found out about my vitamin B. And then we can go into genetic testing. We have a way to do this where it's totally anonymous, where everything goes to us. So nothing's traced back to you with the genetics. But that's where we found out some of my genetic snippets to know that I am not methylation, where I am a slow methylator. I also have a snippet for phosphocholine, which is also how your liver detoxes your body. So post-workout, my body wasn't able to detox the lactic acid and all the toxins that were built up in anything that I was doing. So I was getting a toxic burden in my body. All kinds of things linked to that. So we found the other genetic links that I've talked about prior, about how my body is always firing at a higher stress state. All of these things were found out through my genetic testing, which then allowed us to go even deeper to find out what exactly my body needed and what tests we needed to do. It is so specific to each one of you. And it's really important to understand that you can perform optimally in your job. It's going to take work and commitment. It is, but most of you are already committed. If you're already putting in the time, if you have been somebody who has like always gone to the gym and really eaten healthy and done all those things, if you started falling off from that, it may be because of things that were happening in your body. But if you're ready to hop back on and do the proper intake forms, get the proper testing done, then you can really get your body performing optimally, so you can get to that point again where you are sleeping. And doesn't matter what shift you're on, you've learned how to work those circadian rhythms so that you can fall asleep, you can stay asleep, you're waking with energy. And then you're able to have that drive again, that adrenaline rush from your workouts, and heal from your workouts, heal from all your tactical training, have the brain power and focus to do your reports at work efficiently, so you actually have downtime. And then you have energy for your family. Like, this is absolutely possible if you are willing to get in there and do the intake forms, do the testing, and really put all of these steps in place that are needed to get your body back to where it needs to be. If you have any questions about this, let us know. You can comment on this post. You can private message us here. You can email us support@911lifestyle.com, and we will be there to help you. We are not associated with any service. Everything you say to us is confidential. We've even created in our program where you can use an alias, so no one else will know in your service, regardless of your rank or your service ever finding out that you are working on any of this, if it can get back to you and cause issues in your service. So we've got your back. Let us know what questions you have about this. I plan all of these videos ahead of time. There's one that's coming up in about 3 or 4 weeks that is going to dive into the testing. So I'm actually going to break down all of we have a whole bunch of tests that we have access to, but there's a bunch of main tests that not everybody needs them all. Nobody needs them all, just based on your symptoms. So I'm going to break down those for you guys as well in about 3 or 4 weeks. So keep an eye out for that one if you want to learn more about the testing, and reach out, support@911lifestyle.com. We are absolutely here to help you in any way we can.